Does Roger Goodell owe the Saints and Saints fans an apology?
You ain't my daddy. Don't tell me where to start.
I'm just asking.
I'm an old ass. Let me tell you where I'm going to start. The greatest movie of all time is not The Godfather. It's either E.T. or Boys in the Hood. You just got to give me one of those. Okay, I digress. Great essay. Roger Goodell needs to address this situation, but does not need to apologize for this situation. There's a difference. This is why there are coaches and politicians who keep it close to the vest. And we get bored when we're watching them. They're talking in cliche, and they're talking in grand fashion, but not specific to the moment. It's because someone is advising them not to step in it. And someone is also advising them that there are greater causes and issues that are on your plate than just diving into the details, into the minutia of this one incident. But the NFL is taking notice. Behind closed doors, they're listening. Behind closed doors, they're talking about this. But for the public, we don't need to hear those dirty details. But the NFL always makes steps and responds to this type of noise and criticism. So if I'm Roger Goodell, this is one of those moments. I understand you're going to poke at me. I understand that everyone is going to attack. But I'm going to keep it close to the vest, address it, as he does on Thursdays before the Super Bowl. He'll have his big State of the Union address, but don't apologize.
There's apologies that are needed. I think it starts with your Vito Corleone.
Yes, get him.
And then the second one is you picking E.T. over The Godfather. There's a second apology. And whoever that congressman is that has a telestrator, okay, so those are the three apologies that we have to get out of the way. I love Ben Watson, and I understand his frustration, and I understand the Saints' frustration about this call, but he summed it up. It's an imperfect game with imperfect people, and the result isn't always what everybody wants it to be. And I think the thing that makes this different is the amount of football that was played after it, and I keep going back to that. It's not like this was the final play of the game. It's not even like it was the Steelers game where on 2 4th-and-2 calls, Joe Hayden gets called and the Steelers get knocked out of the playoffs, and we're not talking about that. It'll be addressed. They'll have something in place next year to handle this. Maybe it'll be the replay, whatever it is. But it happened. It's how the rules were designed. You don't want to put the game in the hands of the officials, but you got to move on.
I'm of the opinion, apologize for what? We all know it was a penalty. It was either pass interference or helmet to helmet. It was a penalty. What is an apology going to do? What is it going to
Undermine the Super Bowl?
We're sorry. What is it's what Coach just said. How many more snaps did the Saints get after that penalty? You guys got the ball first in overtime. It would have been a moot point. You guys go down and score. Nobody saw it. You guys didn't, so it's a big deal. What are you apologizing for? We all know it was a penalty, one way or another. You guys aren't playing in the Super Bowl. The game is not going to be replayed. Enjoy the Super Bowl between the Patriots and the Rams, and it is what it is.
Yep.
Drew Brees, should he step up here, as I suggest, and tell these guys to back down?
No, not at all. I think Drew Brees has a leadership responsibility right now to add some gas to this fire.
Oh, no.
Let me tell you. Well, you got to understand how the NFL works. And you know this. You're a historian of the game. You're a journalist. Let's go back to the catch rule. The catch rule came. Why did they change the rules? Because there was a catching controversy, right? Controversy makes the NFL react.
They overreacted. I had no problem with the previous rule.
Over or under or just reacted. They reacted. And that's what I think Drew Brees is responsible for, Saints Nation, to go out there and try and make a rule change. There's the coin flip. Remember when Jerome Bettis was sitting there? For years, we used to go to the midfield, and the coin was in the air. We said, heads. After Jerome Bettis had his little issue, call it before we flip it, right? And there was a change. Lester Hayes rule, remember that? Oh, my God.
Stick 'em, you talking about?
Stick 'em, yeah. Too much stick 'em. 13 interceptions? Nah, dog, no more of that. Controversies is what makes the NFL move. So if I'm Drew Brees, if I'm Sean Payton, if I'm Who Dat Nation, more gas on this because we don't want this situation to occur for us, certainly, but for anybody else league-wide.
Yeah, and look, there will probably be a change. But the reality is you play by the rules that are in place at the time the game takes place. And unfortunately, that call didn't get called. So that's just the way it is. That you can be unhappy about it, but there's a lot of people that are really happy about it.
What's your take on mine that Drew Brees
I don't know. I think Drew Brees needs to take his young family to Disney and relax, and he needs to enjoy the offseason and spend time
Avoid
with his family.
leadership. He should avoid
It's
He's
not
the
about-
biggest
it's-
voice in Louisiana.
So what's he going to do? He's going to jump into this controversy? I'm sure he's disappointed too. I'm sure he's extremely disappointed with the way things worked out. It's going to change. It's going to be addressed in the offseason. But the reality is reality, and you just got to move on to the Super Bowl.
The sad part is it's Friday. The game was played on Sunday, and we're still talking about this. Like, I'm of the opinion, Drew Brees, guys, it's over, leave it alone. Or Drew Brees, you add gasoline to the fire. It doesn't solve anything. Now, once Ben Watson comes out and does what he just did, it's because you don't expect this. You don't expect it. It's almost like this should be it now. Sean Payton complained. Michael Thomas complained. Their better players have complained. If Drew Brees just says, like Coach said, we probably should have been playing in the Coliseum because we got some calls against the Steelers that we shouldn't have gotten. You know what happens. Do they stop? Pretty much this is it, in my opinion. This is it.
Well, to me, you're going to have protesters in Atlanta. All this gas is going to lead
If Drew Brees comes out and puts out a statement and says, guys, just let it be. We lost the game. Let's enjoy this Super Bowl. They're still going to protest.
I think he could tamp this down with fans. And let's keep in mind, let's be real clear here what the Saints are doing. And the referees, we can agree maybe we're wrong. Helmet to helmet for sure.
Certainly.
Maybe pass interference. What did the Rams do wrong? What did the Rams do wrong? They did nothing.
Nothing.
Were they supposed to say, oh, you know what? They blew that call.
Yeah.
We'll let you have first down. The Rams did nothing wrong. And now by throwing this tantrum and trying to delegitimize what the Rams are doing, they're hurting the Los Angeles Rams.
The biggest thing is, number one, the Saints ran for under 50 yards in that game.
Ooh.
That was number one. And then the Saints' first penalty, this is the NFL, where you can pretty much call a penalty on every play. They had their first penalty 5 minutes and 26 seconds left in the third quarter before they had their first penalty called on them. But you guys are the one complaining.
And here's the other thing. It's in a game is called a certain way. And the saying was, we're going to do business the way business is being done. So if you know that the game is not being called tight, you're vulnerable to these things. And that's just the way it happened. And there were a bunch of plays early in the game where it could have been pass interference or holding, and they didn't call it. You do business the way business is being done, and sometimes this is going to happen late in games, and you just got to move on. That's the landscape of that game and that officiating.
I need Drew Brees, the politician, to be who he is right now. Stay out of this. You let the state of Louisiana and New Orleans speak loud and clear, and guess what?
They talking on the Senate floor, man. The guy's drawing up plays on the
and Drew
Senate
Brees
floor.
is damn near like the governor of that state. And you know what? I have too much power, too much influence, and I know what butters my bread. I am not going to step in the middle of this and divide up.
Man, he got enough butter now, huh?
Who has enough butter? Think about it. I mean, for real. So Drew Brees, stay out of this.
Look, my narrative is always the same. I'm always about trying to protect the game moving forward. And I don't see anybody here Roger Goodell, to me, is doing the right thing by ignoring all this chatter. Other people need to join in trying to protect the integrity of the game. Why hurt the Rams? Why try to delegitimize?
Should it be Sean Payton now? Should he just
No, it
come
should
out
be
now?
Drew Brees. He's the most powerful voice. Sean Payton's a baby. He's throwing his tantrum. He's still throwing a tantrum. Drew Brees has to be the bigger man. Drew Brees is 40 years old, damn near as old as Sean Payton. Again, there's one other person here. There's one other person here that can do the right thing. The referee. Because the Los Angeles Rams, again, they did nothing wrong. Maybe you can blame Roby Coleman or Nickel Roby Coleman. He got fined.
Yeah.
The referee could, you know what? I'm in the middle. Let me take the bullet. It's only a part-time job. This isn't my full-time job.
They make good money, though, doing that.
But again, sometimes you got to be the bigger man and do what's right. To me, he should resign or they should fire him.
So many missed calls, though, throughout the game.
And we're like, that's not fair. I mean, take the bullet, maybe a flesh wound. Look, I'm one of the best referees you have in the game. That's why I'm doing the NFC Championship game.
He waved off the other guy.
And look, in a world full of millionaires, the guy who's going to take the bullet is the guy who's
Somebody's
going to money.
Somebody has to do it. That's why they call him a scapegoat.
Look, people make mistakes. People make mistakes, and they'll be evaluated.
Imperfect game, and he didn't make the right.
And according to you, Whitlock, it wasn't even a penalty. Now
Yeah,
you're trying to get
you're
the guy.
debating whether it's a penalty.
Yeah, and now you're
saying
gonna fire the
do
dude.
right thing for the league.
No.
If this dude needs to step up, it's a part-time job. He blew it.
But everybody
should
knows
take the
he
bullet.
blew it,
He
so
should take the bullet.
No, I take it. Hey, look, you can right now take me down a notch, knock me down a peg. Hey, I won't do the playoffs next year. But to lose my part-time job in its entirety when I made a mistake, and mistakes shouldn't be this mistake.
Some mistakes are bigger than others.
But this mistake is even controversial. You're over here debating the mistake.
You can be late for dinner, but if you come home with lipstick on your collar, it's a different deal. Some mistakes are bigger.
Right. No, this is one of our best referees, obviously, in the game. That's why he's doing one of the biggest games. Take him down a notch. I respect that. But to fire the guy over something that is controversial, some say wasn't even a penalty, and then you can't use the stakes and the reaction against him because in the moment, what he did wasn't so egregious, wasn't with malintent, wasn't malicious. He just missed a call. That's not enough to fire a dude.
D. Ford made a mistake. Is he stepping down? No, Bob Sutton.
If I was running the team, he might have some problems. But again, seriously, I'm crazy here for thinking
There's too many missed calls. There's too many missed calls throughout the course of. I keep going back to what you keep bringing up. The Steelers is sitting here saying, "Man, we should be in the playoffs." Y'all talking about apologize for us not even getting an opportunity. The whole playoffs could be changed had the Steelers had an opportunity to play.
And you never know what's going to happen. You saw
With
what
that
happened when
roster
the
and
Eagles
that
got
team?
in.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen.
My position is situational. Again, in a normal situation where we didn't have Ben Watson writing letters, we didn't have politicians taking this to the Senate floor, when we didn't have fans planning a protest in Atlanta, if we didn't have all those things, I wouldn't be saying, hey, the ref needs to do the right thing. But because this situation has blown completely out of control and these guys are being big babies and Sean Payton has set a terrible tone for the whole city and state, somebody needs to be the sacrificial lamb. And if it's that referee, so be it. So what? It's a part-time job.
God, boy, you ever walk in someone else's shoes in the name of empathy? Like, hell no, what do you mean? Get rid of him. What does it matter to him? Like, you're sitting there from this vantage point pointing at him, but he's like, I didn't cause all of this. You're saying the crybabies are causing all of this, all the commotion, all of the noise.
So they're going to cry and get a man fired because they're complaining.
And you're going to justify it. So if you complain enough, okay, we're going to punish somebody.
Yeah.
That's not what does that teach you? Like when you deal with your kids, if they're complaining too much and you give into it, you're going to get more of that.
I've been in this situation, and I can't go off into it, but again, it's like me and the undefeated at ESPN.
Oh.
I took some bullets, man, so the thing could survive. Because trust me, I had a case. If I wanted to make a big, nasty case out of it, I could have. But I wanted the thing to survive, and I wanted other people to benefit from it. Sometimes you got to be man enough to, or woman enough to do that.
The NFL is going to survive. It's going to thrive. It's going to have record profits. It'll be fine. And this will blow over in a year or two or maybe a little bit longer. Nobody will even remember it. You're like, oh, yeah, something happened in that game.
I'm glad you took those bullets. Look at you now, baby. It should be rolling.